Okay, so next question, which is about you.
Okay.
Um, so you are now in, if I may say, in your 50s.
Yes.
And I'm curious for our younger women viewers, like, what fulfills you in your life? What you find interesting, or like, what advice you would have to younger women to just consider
Yeah.
as someone older than maybe some of
Sure.
us.
Um, I would say, and again, some of these things we might have touched on before, but I think one thing I wish I knew then was that
Mm-hmm.
not forever. In the time,
Mm-hmm.
I feeling so just like any decision I made was just, the world is on me. And,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, okay, so you don't make the right decision, then you make another one,
Yeah. Yeah.
do the
That's
best you can,
true.
the information at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if it ends up not working, well, then whether it's okay, man, I really thought I loved this job and actually hate it. Okay, well, then keep your eye open for another one. Nothing is forever.
Mm-hmm.
Same with breaking up with boys. You know what I mean? It seems like the end of the world in the moment. And it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. What I really have come to care about, especially since my divorce,
Mm-hmm.
because I could say I didn't really have or keep a lot of good girlfriends through that time.
Mm-hmm.
Where what I really cherish and what mean the most to me in my life right now are my girlfriends.
Oh.
It's a small circle, you know what I mean? It's not like I'm somebody that has, there's a couple things I'm going to have to tangent on that in a minute. But no, my girlfriends, having I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6, and they're all very different, all from very different walks of life. A lot of them don't even know each other, but maybe there's probably 6 women that I could trust anything with.
Yeah.
And that if anything ever really happens or shit hits the fan, I know that they'll be there for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all make the same effort to see each other on the regular basis, because life, like, look, you and me, I mean, it gets busy. Things don't,
Yeah.
Life happens. And before you know it, months and months and months could go by and you haven't seen someone or talked to them.
Right.
So while I don't talk to these women like every day or anything, but we
Yeah.
all make a conscious effort
Mm-hmm.
to get together at least every couple months.
Mm-hmm.
It's not every month, every couple months.
Yeah.
But it's a conscious effort. Like when we're sitting at First Watch, okay, we all look at our calendars. When is the next time we're going to get together? And we put it on our calendars.
Mm-hmm.
Because life happens and it's really easy to just not see people in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are exceptionally important.
Hmm.
Where was my tangent? There was a tangent that went with that. It'll come back to me.
Okay, was it anything, because you had said you had 6 girlfriends and you said you had a tangent, was it something to do with the drama of them, or no?
No, they're drama free.
Oh.
I know. The other thing I have, and you probably have too, at some, maybe not, but privacy is power.
Yeah, love that. Mm-hmm.
People can't ruin what they don't know about.
Exactly.
I am constantly, yes, I'm on Facebook, but I realized this last week I haven't posted anything in a year.
Wow.
I do scroll through things, and because I don't want to like have somebody pass away and not know it, or you know what I mean, or things like that. But
right.
But I'm regularly purging my list, because people will friend you because you're working with them. Well, then they change jobs. Were they ever really a friend?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. So why should they have any access to me in my life? So
right.
I'm big on privacy is power, and people can't ruin things they don't know about.
Yeah, I really love that.
Whether my plans, back in the time of dating, I have a girlfriend, God bless her, just went through a divorce, immediately starts, I've known her since I was 19, so she's one person in the world I've known longer than anyone in the world.
Yeah.
And just went through a divorce, started dating right away. Um, I, I just really, I have my close friends, and even my close friends are things that I don't share with them.
Right.
Not because I don't love them or that they would be judgmental, or sometimes I just want to do my thing and not have everybody know about everything I'm doing all the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I have like my 5 adopted sisters, and I sort of feel like for me, like I told you in our last meeting, I kind of go to each one depending on the situation, who's ever available as well, because everyone's like going through different things in their lives.
And people can't ruin what they don't know about. So.
And I mean, we had talked about a little bit about your upbringing and your choice / decision / life panning out to never having a child, and if there was any regret in that or not, if you ever wondered or just felt completely okay with it. I'm curious for younger viewers who might not want to have the path of children, like what you would say about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I had a couple people tell me if we didn't talk about this before. At one point, I remember I was about 27, and I was starting 27, 28, 29, right in there. And I was questioning that I didn't have this maternal drive. All of a sudden, I realized after I bought my house, I'm like, I always thought I wanted to be married and have kids. But then I was like, really? So maybe we had talked about this. But I remember talking to my dad about it. And my dad said, you can't miss what you never had. You know, you can't miss what you never had. And then I said, well, who's going to take care of me when I get old? And my dad, Holly, you could have 7 kids, and it doesn't mean any of them are going to take care of you old. So what I, if I could go back and change anything, I couldn't change this. It was just the way my life happened. I never have been in a relationship that I felt that I wanted to bring a child into the world for.
Right.
Or of. You know, Anthony and I were never on solid. We were young enough, we could have, but we were never on solid ground. We were never this madly in love couple that want to bring. You want your love to create another life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of people just get married and have babies because that's what you're supposed to do, so to speak.
Right.
Quote unquote. I never felt that way, thank gosh, because we could have ended up having kids to save the marriage, which never saves the marriage.
No.
You know. So there's nothing I could do about it now, so it's not a matter of regretting anything, but sometimes I'm sad that I never had that kind of a relationship.
Sure.
Where I had a true partner who really loved me, and like you were just saying a little bit ago, wanted to care for me and care about me, and I never had that. So it's not a matter of regret, because it's not like I let the one get away or anything like that. I just had it. Had I had that kind of a love, someone that I know would have been a true partner in parenting. Whereas, and I did say at one point to Anthony, because I was 32 and he was 36 when we got married, and I was on I don't know if I'm really maternal, material. But I had always told myself that if his soul was going to die, not being a father, then we were a married couple, I would had a baby, because if I felt he really, really, really wanted to be a dad, which he kept doing after the fact, but anyhow, but I'm glad he never pushed that on me, because we weren't in a solid enough relationship. But if I were to look back, I wish I had somebody that I felt, because I see videos and reels of these dads and that are just amazing fathers, and that's somebody worth having a baby with, but to just have a baby to have a baby. And again, so I can't say I have regrets, because I wouldn't have wanted a child with just anyone.
Right.
But I sometimes, every now and then, I see or something on Facebook, or even a fake ass movie where there's a man who's just the most amazing
Oh.
father. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I go, that would be the kind of man I could see having a baby with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wish I had had that, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
I get that. Definitely. Yeah.
But again, it's not a regret per se. It's
Yeah.
just that my life worked out. You know?
Okay, so my next question is sort of about younger you. I'm curious, like, just about your teenage self, how it was growing up, like, in your era and your decade of music and stuff. Like, were you a cool girl at school? Were you a nerd girl? Were you picked on? I'm just curious.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of friends because of, I think now looking back, it's not that I was that nerdy that I didn't have friends,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a boyfriend. I did have a boyfriend.
Okay.
But because of my family, my mom, I couldn't bring people home.
Oh, right,
Because
yeah.
you never knew what you were walking into. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not so much that I said, oh, I can't have friends or I won't have friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it evolved to where
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anybody in high school that I could even name.
Hmm.
I did change high school in the middle of high school. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that when you uproot, and, you know, I went from San Diego to San Jose. And so that was kind of a big uprooting.
Yeah.
But I had a boyfriend
Mm-hmm.
that went to a different school.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't even give you a name of a friend I had in high school. I mean, I had like somebody I would talk to in each class, that kind of friend.
Yeah, sure.
But nobody that I went out with on the weekends or brought over to my house or anything like that. None of that. But I had a boyfriend. But he lived on my street. You know what I mean? So I met him when we moved into the house.
Yeah.
They came over and said hello, he and some friends and that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I did end up having a boyfriend. But really nothing else.
Did it end badly, like with heartbreak or sort of parting ways, or?
He was a year older than me in school.
Mm-hmm.
So when he graduated high school, and then he went to Santa Clara University, and I was graduating high school. We just kind of drifted apart. I can't even remember, like, a conversation that we said, okay, we're breaking up, or there was no big fight. Something must have happened after I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it was, though, I can't remember. It's all coming back to me.
Oh.
I got my braces off. I started growing my
Yeah.
hair long, you know, that kind of, yeah. And then having attention from other people. I'd never had attention from other men. He was, you know, my high school boyfriend. He was my first sexually everything. So
Yeah.
it was a different world.
Right. I don't think people can even fathom when you had to just call people to make plans and maybe a pager was coming out or something like. So into your 20s, and I don't want to make it uncomfortable at all, but you shared with me about the magazine.
Yep.
So I'm curious, like, your lifestyle or leading up to your being in the magazine. Like, did you always feel like you would? Was it impulsive? Did you have any regrets? Did you love it? Like, your 20s, like, kind of what your mind frame was then.
Well, after I blossomed, I ended getting into bikini modeling. So this was in the early 90s.
Okay.
And I literally made a living doing bikini contests.
Wow.
And bikini model, things like that. Back in the day, this movement, all the bars would have bikini contests, and there was a bikini circuit, a lot of the same girls, and the bars would call the girls because if you get the girls to do a bikini contest, the boys would come to the bar,
right,
or young men, I should say,
right.
So I got involved doing these contests, which then led to some modeling stuff. Local level, and then a lot of the girls I was doing bikini contests with, somebody had a contact with Playboy, so the rest of us got the contacts, and that's kind of how that went. funny enough, that boyfriend I was talking about in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I would skip school and go to his house because he lived just down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I found his dad's Playboy collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I 15, 16 years old and seeing these women and thinking, oh my gosh, they were so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So at 15, 16 years old, I always thought it would be amazing. Of course, I was not a pretty girl at all, but I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, you know, that's something, they were the best of the best, the prettiest. They were so amazing.
Hmm.
And I had this opportunity, and you know, since you were 15 years old, you've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
Of course, I jumped on the opportunity.
Okay.
I don't regret it at all. I would not do it now in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, what that friend I was talking about that I've known since I was 19, her
Mm-hmm.
daughter, here, she had submitted photos to Playboy, and they immediately called her.
Mm-hmm.
And talking with her mom, we decided to try to steer her away from it, even though her mom and I both did Playboy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, it was a magazine.
Yeah.
It's the digital world.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
Naked photos of her all over the place.
Right.
Even though we just did the printed versions of the magazine. But in today's Playboy, in today's world, one search of someone's name and
right. Yeah.
the rest of life
right.
is affected.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The whole rest of your life. So what she doesn't know
right.
is in 10 years, she might feel very differently about her naked self being out there. Yeah.
But I would not do it today in today's world.
Yeah. It's a really scary world.
Well, and again, it'll haunt you forever now.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So different.
All right. Well, I guess I'm on to my last question, which is just basically, was there anything that that we left out from the last interview that you want to touch on, or any final advice that you would say in your interview to the world and or anyone who listens?
Honestly, you know, your question earlier is really probably how I'm trying to live my life now. It would be, again, the privacy is power.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't know, they can't ruin. I just think people need to be, I know not everybody can be quiet to themselves, and some people need to share. I have some of those friends.
Oh.
You know, and
Yeah.
and I guess maybe in my growing up, I've been exceptionally strong. In fact, funny enough, I saw something on Etsy. I know I'm tangenting here, but
Totally. Cute.
the other day, it was about Gen X, which I am.
Yes.
And it made some comment like something, we've been adulting since elementary school. You know, because we were, you know, and I thought me growing up in an alcoholic household, but I think it had something to do, the generation was that way too, being a latch kid, you know, and we didn't have the electronics and the games and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm enjoying privacy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love my girlfriends. Like I said, they are the most important things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also enjoying my privacy, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I need to give the whole totally getting off Facebook an idea, you know, some more thought. But yeah, I would say parting words would be just what I said earlier. And as far as kids, you know, don't have them just to have them.
So I think, when I'm a sub, when I'm a counselor, I think I'll just remember to always sort of be open-minded. Let these little people tell me who they are, what their fears are. And I just want to be a good listener and, I don't know, I guess supportive or something, however I can help them. But
that sounds like a fabulous plan.
Yeah, even if I do just live out in the country and I'm just a little school teacher the rest of my days, I don't really care. I'm good with it. I really am.
Probably make a bigger difference that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? For sure.
Yeah.